my gosh. I just saw that. We are having some serious problems. Sparrow, what have you done? If you're considering adopting wild mustangs and are in the market for panels, you're in the right place, as this video was made for you. I'm going to be sharing all of my experiences in hopes that it gives you some things to consider before you make that purchase. If you've already adopted a wild mustang, I'd love to hear where you're from and where you got your panels, and any tips that you think would be helpful for someone else in the comments. Perhaps like many of you, adopting a wild mustang was an absolute dream come true for me. There are so many things to consider before adopting a mustang, and one of them is the type of fencing needed. I started my search for fencing by considering the adoption requirements of the Bureau of Land Management. You'll see that they have 3 different specifications on the fencing: the square footage, height, and materials of the corral. I am specifically going to be talking about panels in this video. You can see that other than being the required height, the BLM doesn't have requirements for these panels, such as a weight requirement. This left me alone to do my own research, and I went to a couple of Mustang groups on Facebook to ask for recommendations, and had a lot of recommendations for Bard Gate. They ship all over the country and have a 6-foot-high utility round pen and a 6-foot-high heavy-duty round pen. I went over this in much further detail in a former video, but in a nutshell, the heavy-duty panels were listed as 135 pounds, and there was no weight listed on the utility panels. After much consideration, I ordered the utility panels, which arrived 7 weeks later. The panels were far lighter than I had hoped. The driver estimated them to be about 70 pounds each. It's unfortunate the weight wasn't listed on the website, as that would have affected my decision, but I should have also done my due diligence and called to find out. To give the fence a more solid appearance, I added this privacy screen around the majority of my panels, and that also helped prevent the horses from reaching their heads through. It's difficult to access 6-foot-high panels in my area, and for the price and delivery to my house, I thought this was a really high-value product. It just really wasn't intended to hold wild mustangs. It's one of those you get what you pay for experiences. Let's take a look at some of the ways that panels can become damaged. One way that panels could become damaged is if a horse crashes into it during a training session, particularly if the methods place a lot of stress on the horse, or if the training space is too small, or the horse is just cornered against the fence. Mustangs can really vary in their reactivity, so it can be very different from horse to horse. If you're getting multiple mustangs, you can expect your panels to get bashed at some point by the horses interacting with each other, whether this be together, from across the fence, or even with a screen in between, which is what is going on in this clip right here. The panels may get used as scratching posts, whether that's for their face, their hindquarters, or their sides. This could potentially damage them. Another way for panels to become damaged would be from the horse reaching its head and neck through to try to get something on the other side, such as grass. What horse could resist that? This is obviously also dangerous for the horse. I've gone ahead and ordered more screens to put around these panels here. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what the panels are up against. Now let's go ahead and see how these panels have fared after 1 year of owning Mustangs. And again, these are not heavyweight panels. These panels held up well against my initial Mustangs, a 2-year-old and a yearling, Libby and Britta. The struggle has been with my latest group of horses, and with one little horse in particular. Let's take a look at some of the troubles we've been experiencing. This next clip is something no Mustang owner wants to see. Oh my gosh. I just saw that. And Sparrow. I had been walking out to feed the Mustangs when I noticed a fresh manure pile in my backyard. I looked up, and right there in front of me was my wild Mustang Sparrow. Now at this time, Sparrow was still very wild and unapproachable by me. Thankfully, I had hay in my arms, and she followed me right back into her pen. I saw that her gate was wide open, and I immediately assumed it was my dim-witted self who had left it open, even though I'm very careful about closing it and check and double check all the time. I still don't know whether it was truly me who left the gate open or if it was Sparrow herself. You'll see why I wonder that in a moment. One thing I do know is that I experienced the best possible outcome of this. The consequences could have been devastating, and I am so thankful this ended so quickly and easily. However, in the following days, I started seeing some other changes happening.
Good girl. Good girl, Sparrow.
I started seeing gates opened and panels disconnected. It was typically at this gate where the horses tend to have their disagreements. I found this gate open on numerous occasions, but then it started getting worse, and it was clear the horses were doing more than just biting at each other. Sometimes I found the gate more than just opened, it was totally disconnected on one whole side. And one time I even found the panels open to the outside, but thank goodness I discovered it in time. The impact did not happen to just this area alone, but the horses would still fight through the fence and even through this green screen. I'd often come out in the mornings to find that Sparrow had broken into the gelding side and also pushed back my fence, which is what you see here.
This is every day now.
This happened over and over again. And I'm gonna guess this next thing happened because Sparrow was trying to get grass.
Oh my gosh, what have you done? Sparrow! What? What have you done? Sparrow!
Here you can see that she had pulled back all of her panels, dumped her bucket, and was standing in this little triangle area when I arrived.
What the heck? How does this happen? Broke this, I think through here. This one got wider. One of these top things came through because one of them is supposed to be down here. So now it's broken. Yay, Sparrow.
And that, my friends, is what these panels are up against when you get them for wild mustangs. So I do want to point out that you really do get what you pay for. These are not bad panels, but they're just not intended for wild mustangs. I fell into the trap of wanting to save a little bit of money, and I bought the cheaper panels. On this side of things, I definitely now see the value in heavyweight panels, and I honestly didn't know a whole lot of panels going into this other than the research that I had done. So I have learned, and my next ones moving forward will definitely be heavyweight. Again, if you've already had Mustangs and have bought your own panels, please comment below. What did you get? Where did you get them? And give any tips or tricks that you have. My goal of this video was to be helpful, so I really appreciate you adding to the conversation below. Also, I'll throw Bardgate's link in the description box below, and also where I got these green screens. And these have actually lasted a pretty long while. The zip ties have come undone here, but I've just had to replace a few of those, and then I have my first rip that I got a couple days ago. But these have held up very well over time. As long as it's not loose, when you have these loose ends, they're more likely to get damaged. But if it's secure top and then bottom, it lasts pretty well. So happy with this product. Anyway, I'll put those in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.